Part 3. What leaders must unlearn. The hidden beliefs that quietly destroy relevance. Let's examine the most dangerous thing in a leader's toolkit. In most organizations, the greatest risk isn't the competitor. It isn't regulation. It isn't even the speed of technology. The greatest risk is a leader's certainty, believing what you believe is always right. Not because certainty is always wrong, but because it becomes sticky. It becomes identity. It becomes a lens through which everything else is filtered. And the AI era is an era in which the world changes faster than any single lens can keep up. This is why unlearning is not a soft concept. It is not a motivational slogan. It is not something reserved for people who like self-development. In the AI era, unlearning is a strategic capability because what made you successful, your instincts, your mental models, your management patterns, can become the very things that cause your decline. Unlearning begins with a brutal truth. Most leadership wisdom was built for a world where information was scarce, analysis was expensive, feedback was slow, markets moved at human speed, and organizations were mostly mechanical systems. In that world, leadership rewarded decisiveness, experience, control, expertise, and predictability. The AI era flips these conditions. Information is abundant. Analysis is cheap. Feedback is instant. Systems behave nonlinearly. Competitors scale fast. Customers expect personalization. Employees expect autonomy. Decisions must be made with incomplete clarity yet high responsibility. In this environment, the old leadership playbook doesn't merely become less useful, it becomes dangerous. So part 3 of this course about identifying the beliefs that leaders must unlearn, not as an ideology, but as a survival discipline. Let's take a close look at what needs to be unlearned. Unlearn the dogma. Experience equals superior judgment. For decades, experience was the crown jewel of leadership. It represented time, exposure, refinement, and scar tissue. Experience created intuition, and intuition created fast decisions. But experience has a hidden dependency. It relies on the future resembling the past. When the environment changes faster than your experience can update, intuition becomes a memory masquerading as wisdom. AI accelerates this problem. It changes the environment by transforming customer behavior, shifting cost structures, reconfiguring competition, altering talent expectations, and compressing innovation cycles. In such a world, experience can become a trap. You see a pattern too quickly. You label the situation too soon. You make a decision that would have worked 5 years ago. This is why AI is exposing an uncomfortable dynamic. You can be experienced and wrong with great confidence. The antidote is not to abandon experience. It is to stop treating experience as the final authority. Experience must become a hypothesis, not a verdict. Next, unlearning is the belief that leadership means having the answers. Many leaders are celebrated for being the person with solutions. Walk into a meeting, listen for 5 minutes, and pronounce the direction. That style was useful in simpler systems. But AI-era organizations are complex systems with emergent behavior. In complex systems, the leader who rushes to answers often becomes the one who silences exploration, kills weak signals, forces premature alignment, and reduces the organization's learning capacity. In AI-enabled decision environments, a new leadership advantage emerges: the ability to ask better questions than anyone else. Because in a world of abundant intelligence, the scarce resource is not answers. The scarce resource is framing the right questions and scenarios, judgment, meaning, values, and priorities. AI can generate 10 options. It cannot tell you which one fits your organization's soul, or which one preserves trust, or which one creates resilience. So leaders must unlearn, "I must have the answers," and replace it with, "I must build the conditions where the best answers can emerge." Third, unlearning. Control creates performance. Industrial-era leadership treated control as a virtue. Control meant predictability. Predictability meant efficiency. Efficiency meant profit. So leaders built systems that tracked compliance, standardized behavior, reduced variance, and centralized decision-making. The AI era punishes this. Why? Because AI amplifies a different economic truth. Adaptation beats optimization in volatile environments. When the world changes quickly, optimizing a rigid system is like polishing a ship that is sailing in the wrong direction. Control-heavy cultures create slow decision loops, fear of deviation, poor experimentation, hidden problems, for the reason being people don't speak up, and low learning velocity. AI thrives in environments of iteration and feedback. If leaders maintain control-heavy cultures, the organization cannot extract the real value of AI, which depends on testing, learning, refining, and redeploying. So leaders must unlearn control as competence and embrace a new discipline: orchestration over control. Orchestration means designing the system, clear direction, shared principles, strong guardrails, fast learning loops, and local autonomy. You do not control every move. You design the field on which good moves become likely. Leaders must the fourth dogma in old-style management: hierarchy equals order. Hierarchy was once a rational response to information scarcity. The top had access to better information, broader perspective, and the ability to coordinate. AI changes this. When AI tools democratize analytics and insight, intelligence becomes distributed. Now, the front line can sometimes see the truth earlier than the top because the front line touches the customer daily, the front line sees real friction, the front line has operational reality, and the front line can use AI tools that reveal patterns immediately. If leadership relies on hierarchy as the sole source of order, it will unintentionally suppress the organization's distributed intelligence. The new order is not hierarchical, it is networked. Call it wirearchy. Leaders must unlearn order through hierarchy and relearn order through shared principles and values, transparent data, and fast coordination. The next big unlearning that is required is thinking that AI is an IT project. This is one of the most common failure patterns in organizations. A leader announces AI initiatives, then the work disappears into the CIO's office, a data science team, a vendor pilot, and a technical roadmap. The organization then expects results, but AI is not merely a technology deployment. It is a change in decisions, workflows, roles, capabilities, accountability, and ethics. If AI is treated as IT's responsibility, then the organization will build tools no one adopts, produce models that don't fit workflows, generate insight that doesn't translate into action, waste money, and lose trust. Successful AI transformation is not led by IT. It is sponsored by leadership and owned by the business. AI belongs in the operating model, not in a lab. Remember that. Sixth, unlearning. Transformation is buying tools. If there is a single sentence that summarizes why many AI programs fail, it is this: organizations buy tools faster than they change behavior. AI transformation is not a shopping problem. It is a leadership problem. You can buy AI platforms, co-pilots, dashboards, agents, and automation tools, and still see no meaningful change if managers don't trust the outputs, teams don't know how to use them, incentives reward old behaviors, decision rights remain centralized, and culture punishes experimentation. Tools do not transform organizations. Leaders do. AI requires leaders to rethink how decisions are made, how learning happens, how accountability is assigned, and how value is measured. Buying tools without changing the decision architecture is like buying gym equipment without changing diet. It looks like progress, but it isn't. Seventh, unlearning. Culture is soft. In the AI era, culture becomes a hard strategic asset because culture determines whether people experiment, whether they share data, whether they trust models, whether they reveal problems, whether they learn, or whether they collaborate across silos. If a culture rewards certainty and punishes error, AI adoption will stall because AI requires iteration. If a culture rewards politics over truth, AI insights will be ignored because they threaten power. If a culture rewards compliance over curiosity, AI will become an accessory, not a capability. Culture is not soft. Culture is the organization's invisible operating system. Leaders must unlearn the belief that culture can be handled later. In AI transformations, culture is often the first domino. Eighth, unlearning. More data equals more clarity. AI brings more data than leaders have ever had, but more data does not automatically produce clarity. In fact, more data often produces noise, false confidence, competing interpretations, and analysis paralysis. Leaders must unlearn data as certainty and embrace data as input. Data is not wisdom or insight. Data is raw material, just information. AI is not truth. AI is a lens. Dashboards are not direction. Dashboards are signals. Leadership is the act of turning signals into meaning and meaning into action. Ninth, unlearning. Efficiency is the highest goal. This is subtle because efficiency has been the golden idol of management for decades, but AI introduces a new leadership tension. Efficiency can destroy resilience. When organizations optimize aggressively, they often remove slack, fewer people, tighter inventories, leaner processes, and shorter cycles. That looks good until something shifts. And in the AI era, shifts happen often. Markets swing, regulations change, customer sentiment flips, and competitors introduce new AI-driven services. The organizations that thrive are not the ones that are most efficient. They are the ones that are most adaptable. The leadership metric of the future is not efficiency alone. It is learning velocity, adaptation speed, capability renewal, trust preservation, and innovation throughput. Leaders must unlearn the obsession with efficiency as the primary virtue and replace it with a more mature objective. Build organizations that can change without breaking. Tenth important, unlearning is the CXO's belief that my authority comes from my position. This is the deepest unlearning of all. In the industrial era, position often conferred authority. In the AI era, authority must increasingly be earned through clarity, integrity, competence, trust, the ability to steward complexity, and the ability to hold ethics under pressure, because AI reduces the information advantage of senior roles. When everyone can access intelligence, the leader's value is no longer access. It is judgment and direction. The leaders who cling to positional authority will increasingly face disengagement, quiet resistance, talent flight, and innovation suppression. The leaders who earn authority through credibility will create something far more powerful than compliance: commitment. Therefore, here is the new reality of leadership identity. AI forces leaders to confront a painful truth. The leadership identity built on being right, being in control, and being the smartest person in the room is becoming obsolete. And that is not a loss. It is an invitation to become something rarer and stronger. A leader who learns faster than they cling, a leader who designs better systems than they dominate, a leader who can hold uncertainty without panic, a leader who can guide human values into machine-driven systems, and a leader who can get rid of the burden of past glory. Unlearning is about liberation, because once a leader unlearns the old myths, they become capable of the next evolution. And that is where we go next.